Imaginary friends. I remember it like it was yesterday. Well, it was a really long time ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I used to have an imaginary friend myself. Do I remember his name? Absolutely not, but we had some great times together. I want to say his name was Steve, but then again, that might have just been Steve from Blue's Clues, so I don't think it was really that creative, nor do I think that was his name, but he was around, and, well, I had to get rid of Steve because I wanted to join the kids next door, and they told me that, I couldn't join if I had an imaginary friend. And yes, I know that the kids next door don't exist, but I wanted to be one so very badly, and I had a wild and very vivid imagination that I was going to do whatever I could to become a kids next door before I became a teenager. So, as far as I'm concerned, I lived my life. I was a kids next door, and this is getting far away from the intro that I necessarily wanted to do, so we're just going to leave it at that. I had an imaginary friend at one point, and I had to let him go to become a kids next door, and I hope he's doing okay, wherever you are, Steve. And like I said, again, that might be Steve from Blue's Clues. But regardless, that's my friend to the end. But look, forget about all that. Look, guys, this is imaginary. Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and look, this is my review for Imaginary, starring DeWanda Wise. I believe her name is Piper Braun. Yeah, Piper Braun. Tegan Burns and Tom Payne, and it was directed by Jeff Wadlow. I do apologize. This is the first time I'm hearing of many of these people's names, so I had to look it up, make sure I got their names correct. But look, our story follows a woman who is basically moving back into her childhood home, having very fuzzy memories of her childhood, but she's moving back into her childhood home with her new stepfamily, and basically what happens is her stepdaughter, or her daughter, however you want to see it, she gets attached to this little bear called Chauncey, and Chauncey just so happens to become her imaginary friend, and things start to go a little crazy. She really starts to actually have, the family believing that she is actually talking to somebody, and weird stuff starts happening around the house that is not only connected to DeWanda Wise's, the main character's past, but it's just haunting her future, and basically they just got to figure out what the hell is going on. That is the best way I can describe that plot, just because you don't really need to look too deeply into it. It's basically a girl gets an imaginary friend and fucked up shit starts happening. You really just need to go in there with that mindset, and you're actually going to have surprisingly a good time. Now look, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys before I even talk about my feelings on the movie itself. I walked in truly thinking this movie was going to be completely stupid. I did not like the trailers. I did not like the advertising. I personally thought that this concept really made me think that Blumhouse was running out of ideas, and I just truly could not wrap my head around an imaginary friend scenario, because like I said, I had one, but it just wasn't that deep to me to where I thought you can make a horror movie out of that. But look, so like I said, I walked in, I was trying to like build up to my feelings of the film itself. But look, basically I walked into the movie, I wanted to give it a chance. I did not want to just completely go in just hating on this movie, going in just thinking this is going to be one of the worst movies ever, yada yada. I turned all those negative thoughts off, and I let the movie just play out, and I surprisingly had a great time. I surprisingly really liked this movie more than I'll say more than I thought I was going to. Like I said, I didn't expect to like this movie at all, but I really thoroughly enjoyed myself. And honestly, look, I'm just going to start with what I loved about the movie. Starting from the very beginning, I'm going to say that they tried. And what that means is, when you watch a lot of horror movies, when it comes to the scary parts and the parts where you're supposed to really build up tension and keep you on your toes, a lot of horror movies, or many horror movies, just fall into the cliches of jump scares, and you can tell where the scare is coming from a mile away. You can tell what the heck is going on before it even happens, and it just feels like sometimes they don't necessarily try to keep it fresh, try to keep you on your toes. This movie is trying the entire time, and when I say they're trying, they're not only trying to make you scared, they're not only trying to make a good movie, but they're trying to use all their ideas that they came up with that revolve around imaginary friends, and they're using those concepts, they're executing them to a T. It's actually very surprising how much thought was put into this movie, how much creativity surrounded this movie. You can tell because from the very beginning, like immediately they set the tone for the type of serious, well, it's not like a very serious movie, but it's one where they didn't want to make it like too like a comedic horror movie. Like you're not really like this really is not a laughing matter. Chauncey is doing some very fucked up stuff, and it's stuff that we should be really taking serious, and they set the tone in the beginning of the film. I absolutely loved it. And like I said, throughout the film, you can tell that they're trying. You can tell that they actually cared about what they wanted to put on screen in this time around, I'll say. Just because, look, their last two movies, Five Nights at Freddy's and Night Swim, were complete misses. Look, I understand Five Nights at Freddy's is going to have their little cult following, but the movie's not good whatsoever, and Night Swim was atrocious, so they needed a win. Blumhouse needed a win, and Imaginary delivered. Imaginary 100% delivered a win for them. I was completely shocked at just how much they actually cared about the concept of this movie. They did so many interesting things throughout the movie, dealing with imaginary friends, dealing with the thought of someone being there, dealing with the kid talking to somebody and making it seem very believable. First of all, the girl's name is Piper Braun. She plays Alice, the little girl in the film. Best performance in the movie. The little girl is absolutely spectacular. She does such a great job carrying, I'll say, the emotion, the weight of the film, because I mean, a lot of the stuff is dealing with her. Like a lot of the crazy stuff that's going on in the movie deals around her, and she executed it so well. She did such a good job. DeWanda Wise, who was the other main character, I believe her name is Jessica, she does a great, her name is Jessica? Yeah. She does a great job in the movie as well. I thought the characters in the film were very good. I thought the performances in the movie were surprisingly good too. They had, everyone tried their best in this movie, and you can actually tell on screen just how much they actually cared about this project. And I really appreciate that, because it made me have a surprisingly very good time in this movie. Like I said, I was not expecting to like this movie whatsoever, but I had a great time. And so, like I said, one thing I love about the movie, they tried. The other thing was the performances. I'll say this. The other thing I really liked about the movie was the fact that they had some twist in the film. They definitely tried to do everything they could to keep you on your toes, keep you guessing, keep you wondering where this story is headed. The twist in this movie is very good. I'll say this. There are, not go into crazy detail, there are 3 twists in this film. And one of them, the very first twist that happens, is genius. It's a mic drop type twist. I was completely shocked. I was like, wow, they are really going for it here in this one. They're trying to honestly make another cult classic, or not even a cult classic. They're trying to make a classic. They're trying to make a Blumhouse classic with this one here. So the first twist, I was amazed by. Second twist, I was kind of like, okay. You guys want to have some fun. I understand that. It didn't necessarily work for me, but I'm not going to penalize you guys too much for this twist, because you're trying to do something here. I can commend that. That's all right. The third twist was actually pretty cool, but the thing about it was the second twist kind of already took me out of it. I'm like, okay, I'm hoping there's no more twists, but there was one more left. And honestly, if it was just the first and the third twist, so basically if there were just 2 twists in this movie, would have been a lot better. I still enjoyed myself, but it would have been so much better. The second twist kind of started to make the movie drag a bit. Like towards the ending of the film, like I said, they were trying a lot. They had a lot of ideas that they wanted to get off their chest in this film. They made sure they pointed out, or they went over at least all of those ideas, as far as I'm concerned. Because like I said, this movie started to drag in the end, but all in all, I really had a good time. I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to. I thought the performances were very good. The teenage daughter, she was played by Tegan Burns. Look, I get it. You know, teenagers suck. You know, they go through their mood swings and things like that. But this girl just really had no common sense whatsoever, and she was just mad at the world. And I get it. You have a stepmom moving in that's not your actual mom. You don't want her to be a part of the family. You don't want her to feel like, I get that dynamic, but her character truly irked me. They tried to give her some redemption at the end. It was a little too late for you, sweetie. I'm sorry. You did a great job as your character, though. You did a great job as your character, but as far as like, you know, the actual character herself, now I wasn't feeling that character whatsoever, but the actress that portrayed her did a very good job. But look, all in all, guys, Imaginary is a very pleasant surprise. I will also say, I have the Betty Buckley, that's the lady that played the old lady in this movie. She's great. She is having the time, Betty Buckley is having the time of her life in this movie, and you can absolutely tell from the moment she steps on screen how much fun she's having in this movie. And I honestly, Like I said, I cannot commend this movie enough for actually trying. Jeff Wadlow did an amazing job. Jeff Wadlow did an amazing job with this movie. I thought the concept, like I said, as stupid as I thought it was, they made me actually pretty terrified of Chauncey and made me understand, all right, I can understand why this is pretty fucking creepy. And they do a lot of things that's like some outside of the box type thinking in here. And I enjoyed the heck out of it. I really thought this movie was surprisingly very well put together. And look, for all those reasons and so many more, guys, I'm going to give Imaginary a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Alright, guys, so Imaginary, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Look, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff and so much more. I really do appreciate it. Look, this is your guy in the chair. More content coming to you soon.